Hello, all my water signs, all you Cancers and your Scorpios and your Pisces. Welcome to your weekly reading for April 18th to April 25th. And of course, these readings are timeless, so if you do come across this outside that time, just know that there can be messages from the Creator for you here, of course. Anyway, so go ahead and continue on watching. I do love that this week coming up is going to be Taurus season is starting, so we're going to have some grounding energy there. We are going to take a Fairies card here because they're very grounded with that Earth energy. So we'll do that at the end and get some messages for there too. A couple quick things. In addition to these readings, I am doing daily collective readings now, and there will be a playlist at the end of this video if you want to check those out. And also starting in May, I'm going to start doing monthly astrological for each of the individual 12 zodiac signs. So if you haven't subscribed already to the channel and want to get notified of when the new content comes out, just subscribe and click the little alarm bell there, and then you'll get notified. So we'll go ahead and get started in here. We're going to start off by just getting an overall picture of the general energy by picking a card here from Kyle Gray's Angel Guide Oracle. And before I get started, I just always love to begin our readings by thanking the Creator for being here with us. And we thank you for your unconditional love. We welcome you and we thank you. And also we welcome and thank all our guardian angels and spirit guides, all our ancestors and loved ones who've gone to the other side, and any other unconditional magical beings of unconditional love. And we welcome and thank you for being here to help bring messages. All right. Water signs. Let's see what we have unfolding for next week. And this can be if you have any of that Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces in any part of your chart. And if you're not sure, I do have a link in the description box below to astro.com where you can go and find out what you have in your chart as well. All right. Okay, well, there we go. So we've got Sacred Plan. And I love this for next week for us, for all the water signs, because, we really connect emotionally. And I feel that is how Spirit communicates to us. That's how Creator and all our, angels and all those individuals I mentioned before that are on the other side, it flows down into here through our emotions, through our heart, because, they are... we all are beings of unconditional love. That's who we truly are made of. These, characters that we're playing, even this material is made of unconditional love, but our being, that's where we come from. And so we're all made of unconditional love. And that's the language that we speak. I call it whispers of love. And so when we connect through the emotions, which is the water signs, if we are in a place of unconditional love emotions, we can hear so much more clearly from above. When we're in fear emotions, all we hear is, like acid rock, hard music at the highest level in a club where you can't even hear anyone speak. You can't even hear yourself think, because it's so loud. That's what fear noise does. So when we calm our fears, then we're able to hear, those voices of love from above. And so that's what our ability is with being, the water sign piece of it all. And so with this being, having a sacred plan next week, I really feel this, like this intention for this following week, really make it a daily intention for each day of the week to do something sacred that reminds you and connects you, whether it's a meditation, doing a walk one day, lighting a candle one day, taking a hot bath where you just get quiet one day and getting water, being a water sign, whatever it may be, whatever you feel brings a sacredness to your day at some time during the day, do something each day, make a plan for it. And then we'll see what Mr. Kyle has to say here too, because I love what he mentions in his book here. So for this card, it doesn't represent the plan that God has for your life, more the plan that comes to fruition based on your intentions and your highest good. You've been given the incredible gift of free will, and therefore your thoughts, deeds, actions, and intentions are in some way going out into the universe and creating the experiences, opportunities, and energies that are flowing in and out of your life. When this card appears, you're being encouraged to move into a state of surrender. When you recognize that, yes, your intentions have an impact on the creation of your life, but how those intentions unfold is not down to you, but in the hands of God. The divine plan is your intentions unfolding in a way that God, the universe, feels is for your growth and highest good. Know that every experience you have been through in your life has been a way marker on your journey towards growth and expansion. And your angels are acknowledging your growth now. If you're trying to force a plan into action, the angelic guidance is to back down and trust in the greater good. Often, when something isn't happening for us, we're frustrated. That's only because we don't see our perfect plan is unfolding, right? The perfect plan in my brain. When your ideas or plans go wrong, trust that the universe has a greater plan for you. And the greater plan isn't something that has already been chosen for you. It's more of a culmination of all your life's intentions, your prayers and actions washing back towards you with opportunities and experiences. Call on your angels to light up the path ahead. You may feel that you are facing the unknown, but know that you are always guided and protected. I love that for us. So yeah, in addition to this sacred plan unfolding for us, all these, taking that time to create a space of sacredness each day will actually help us, with all that, because when we're taking time and we're feeding the powerful, supernatural, unconditional love in our life, and we're taking that time out, we're expanding that. We're telling the universe that's what we want more of. And that's really what we're all seeking, is to be loved unconditionally and accepted unconditionally. That's what we find. But outside, all we tend to find is disappointment and rejection, people not living up to expectations, people not, loving us the way we feel we need to be loved, because all they're seeking to be loved too. So they're focused on finding their love, not necessarily giving us all the love we want. We can only all find that in here. All right. And I'm going to pick some cards here from the Light Seer Tarot, and we'll just find out some clarification and any additional messages we might have for next week. What I love about this card too is, yellow is the color of the solar plexus chakra, which has to do with our relationship to ourselves and our personal beliefs. What do we think of ourselves? What's that reflection of ourselves? But then also up here you have all this, it's not coming up as purple there, but yeah, on the card here, this is all purple that's coming into, which is the crown chakra and our connection to the higher realms, to the creator, to our angels. So I love that. One more shuffle here. All right, what else do we have for water signs for next week, please? Okay, that one. Oh, and that one. Oh, and I said the bottom one too. Let's see what else we got here. All right. So we got the Five of Pentacles here. This card, of course, it looks like, oh, it's so sad and so down, and we definitely can feel this, like I was talking about, that disappointment in our life where we're like, no one's given me everything that I need, and life is unfolding the way that I want it to. But the key is right there in front of us for this door, which is behind this door is what we're looking for. And of course, the key is we are the key. We're the ones that control all that. And, the Pentacles is all about the external world too. And the 5 is about, the 5 of Pentacles is about, that disappointment, feeling like we're not getting what we need from that outside world. And it's because this door, to our heart is where we need to go. And this is, just realizing that and feeling that disappointment, knowing that, again, there's all this yellow in this card, that our relation to ourself is what is impacting all of our life, how we feel about ourselves. And so, it's like, I always say that, self-worth is determined by self. That's why it's called self-worth. And when we define ourselves and what our value is by the external world, that's called retail. What am I worth to all these people? Because I'm going to be worth something differently to everyone. Like if I'm a nice warm coat, to people in the Bahamas, they're going to be like, no, you're on the clearance rack. To people in Alaska in the middle of winter, they're like, oh my God, you're priceless. And until it turns summer in Alaska, and they're like, oh, nope, you're on the clearance rack now too. So all that external stuff is retail, and we're going to end up on the clearance rack at some point and feel worth less or worthless. But when we define our own self-worth, and we define it by the only stable thing, which is the unconditional love of the creator of all things, it's unconditional, it can't be lost. And so in the eyes of the creator, we are perfect and priceless. And when we define ourselves by that, then that self-worth allows us to go, that retail price people are putting on me is just opinion, and it has nothing to do with me. It has to do with how they feel about themselves. And then you've got the 6 of Cups here, which this is like, of course, cups are water, which is what we are, with being water signs. And so it talks about looking back, both for the little child and your future self, just looking at all these emotions that you had in all of your life. Reflecting back and realizing that all those emotions is what you came here to experience. Emotions aren't wrong, there's no bad or good emotions. There's just emotions we're uncomfortable with because we're not used to feeling those way. Those are those emotions based on fears. So, sadness and depression and anxiety and anger, those are all rooted in fears. And we're not used to feeling that way on the other side because we're beings of unconditional love. We're just used to peace, joy, and love and laughter. We're not used to, all those other emotions. But that's what we come here to experience so we can contrast them. So when you look back, just know that all these selves that you've experienced aren't who you are today, but they are experiences that you've culminated and that you've gathered. You can't really see the color too much on here, but this is like a red. This is all red and yellow, which has to do with the root chakra, is the fears, and again the yellow, which is the self, in relation to yourself. I'm reminded from this card when I actually went to counseling and they did this. I think it's called EMDR. It's where they do sound and they have it go back and forth on the other side. And the counselor I was talking to, she took me back on this train going back to understand why I had trust issues. And it was funny because eventually we got to the root of it. It's when as a little boy, this is way back in the day when, the latchkey children era, where I went home from school by myself and I entered the house by myself the first time. My brother was normally with me, but he ran down the street to go play with friends, and I entered the house the first time by myself and it was empty and it freaked me out. But in that moment, my higher self, my adult self, I had like a picture-in-picture where as my little self walked into the kitchen this way, I walked in as the adult from the other side of the kitchen, and we saw each other. And I went over and picked myself up and hugged myself and told myself, my little self, that everything's going to be okay and you're going to be fine. And because as this child, I was able to see myself as this adult, and in that child's mind was like, you're really cool. It kind of healed and refiled all these emotions in a different way, and I saw reflections of these emotions a lot differently. So there you go. For some reason I was supposed to tell you that. And then you've got the star, which this card is usually the Aquarian. So if you have, any Aquarian in your chart, then that's just an extra message for you there. But it's a card of hope. And you can see that we're down here on the earth, but when you have that, I was talking about that sacred line to the heavens, it almost looks like the same card, doesn't it? Where it's reaching up and connecting to the higher realms. And that is really what brings us hope in our lives, because, here she feels caged in. She's got all this fence all around her, all these expectations, all these conditions. But when you realize that you're so much bigger than you are, you're not this character down here on this earth, you are this powerful being that is eternal. This little character we're playing is temporary. This is forever, and we're powerful. We're unlimited, limited, unlimited, temporary, eternal. We feel powerless, and we're powerful. And so it's really connecting and realizing, the star that you really are. And again, connecting and making this sacred space really helps us remember that. Because when we're focusing so much on the storm that is going on around us, and we don't come to that center and connect to those things that are stable, then we feel unstable. And that's why we feel this way here. Okay. And then you got the Chariot. So this is about choices. You can, whatever we feed, if we feed the black, there's that story about the black wolf and the white wolf, right? We have each inside of us, and whichever one we feed is what grows. So when we focus on the positive things in life, the peace, the joy, the laughter, the unconditional love, that's what grows. When we focus on what we don't have, then that grows. And what I love about the Chariot card is that it always shows that we're the one in control of our choice. We're the one that makes that decision for us. And so, this again is just a very empowering card for you to realize that you get to choose what we focus on. And what, of course, the message for us is the sacred plan is this is the week to connect and to focus. And the more time we focus on the higher things of unconditional love instead of the lower things of fear, this is what is going to grow in our life this week. And that's what's going to, ripple across our futures, because, whatever we're speaking into the microphone, the universe is listening to us going, what do you want? And we're like, unconditional love, unconditional love. And it's like, okay, more unconditional love. And this just pours into our life. Or if we're going, not enough money. Oh, they want to have not enough money, so take some money away. And it's like, oh no. So they're always listening, and they, they don't interpret those things. It's like whatever we are sending out in our heart and focusing on. I heard this video recently, just a couple of days ago, from Wayne Dyer, and there was I forget her name, I'm so sorry, but she was talking about wherever you shine your flashlight is what you're going to see. So wherever we're shining that flashlight in our lives is what we're going to focus on, and what we're going to see, and what is going to be controlling all these emotions that we're having, because that's what we see, right? All right. And then the moon. How perfect for water signs, because this is so about Pisces. and about all of us water signs, because we are the emotions. And if we needed any verification, here's the white and dark wolf that I was talking about with the chariot card there. So, but it's about getting into the emotions, getting into our unconscious, to the higher hidden world, the unconscious world. So, that moon lunar energy is so amazing to connect with, and because it's all about the higher things, the non-earth, physical realm. It's all about the universal energy, the higher energy, the connection to your intuition, to your gut, to the spirit world. So I love that. Love that, love it, love it. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and jump and pick a card or two from this Healing with the Fairies Oracle deck, because, like I mentioned, it's going to be Taurus season coming up this next week. And fairies are very grounded to earth energy. And so we'll see what message they have for us for next week. All right, what message do you have for the water signs, please, for next week? What would you like the water signs to know, please? A little bit problem resolved. And I'll read from her book here in a moment, but what I'm getting here, the message for this card for us is that, what we thought was a problem, we're going to get to the root of understanding why we think it's a problem. And rather than thinking, kind of what we're going through with this next week, and when we're connecting to the higher realms, and listening to those whispers of love, we start to understand and trust that life is happening for us, not to us. And so when we think there's a problem, that's because that's tied to our expectation, our supposed to, our should, our need to, our have to. This thing that we're taught that, my foot is not supposed to hurt. I'm not supposed to have allergies. I'm, supposed to be making twice the amount of money I am, or I don't want to sell my house and, downsize, whatever it might be. These problems that we feel are in our life are like, okay, it's a problem because reality isn't matching up to our, these conditional thoughts we think are supposed to happen. So that's where this battle comes. That's where the problem comes in. But when we change our whole perspective of it, we see things from, that higher perspective that we were talking about. When we see that from up above, then we realize, oh, it's really not a problem when we just go with the flow and stop resisting, and just let it unfold without attaching our value to that. Then it doesn't become a problem after all. It just becomes an event that's happening in our life. And in fact, an example, like you could have a friend who has a huge house and can't afford it anymore and is just stressed out. And it wasn't the house maybe they wanted, but it just kind of worked out to where they ended up, maybe purchasing it with another person, and then that person backed out and they ended up with the house, and they think they love the house because that's what they thought they were supposed to have, and everyone always goes, oh, what a beautiful home, and they're like, oh, okay, well, I should have this house. But really they don't want that big house and that responsibility. They might have something smaller, something more that they would like. And then the situation happens where they have to sell and get something smaller somewhere else. When they face all those fears and they let all that go, and suddenly they realize, you know what, I'm much happier with what I have now than what I had. But when I was in the situation, when I was in the problem, it didn't feel like this was the solution that was best for me. But on hindsight, when we look back, we realize, when we look higher and can step out of our fears, we realize, okay, that did happen for me, not to me. And thank you, right? All right. Well, I hope this, brought a little bit of enjoyment into your day-to-day. I definitely appreciate you taking time to watch this. As always, I appreciate any, likes or shares or comments or subscribes on this. It does help spread the love and helps these videos come across as recommendations for other people. The more of that happens with the algorithms and all that fun stuff. So if you feel inclined to do that, thank you very much. And I'm excited for what the week has to unfold for us. So definitely, as you go into next week, just know that you are unconditionally loved by the Creator of all things, and I love you too. Have a great week. Talk to you later.